Welcome to Link by Golf, where the stories of the game come to life. I'm your host Ross McGuire, and in this episode I'm joined by a true competitor and voice of experience in the amateur game, Kenny Gallacher. We talk about Kenny qualifying for the Senior British Open and what the experience was like. Kenny also shares honest reflections, practical tips and a glimpse into the mindset that keeps him playing at a high level. Before we get started, please remember to follow the show and share it with your friends. I'd also like to thank Lomond Golf Tours and Croon Golf for their support of the show. Let's go over to Kenny. On this week's show, I'm delighted to be joined by Kenny Gallacher. Kenny, how you doing? Great to see you.
Good, thanks very much. Apologies for my voice. I've got a big bit of a cold just now, but not just in case you hear me coughing and spluttering.
Oh, no worries, you're sounding good. So, Kenny, we're going to jump straight into something that was really significant for you in your golfing life, and you qualified for the Senior British Open one year. So tell us all about it. What was that like, and what was the year, and how did it go?
It was 2013. I turned 50 in March that year, and my family said to me, "What are you going to do for your 50th?" And that'll be a senior golfer and all that now. And I said, well, I might just enter the Senior Open, just jokingly. So anyway, the season went on, or the season started, and people would say, "Have you entered yet? Have you entered yet?" And I wasn't really that bothered. So I downloaded the form. That was the days when we still used paper. And downloaded the form, and I had it filled in, and I kept saying to myself, right, I'll send it away if I break 70 or whatever, And so anyway, it was like a week before the entry date, and I was going up to play in the medley at East Kilbride, and I said, right, if I break 70, I'll send it in. So I did. I broke 70, sent the form in, and that was that. So I really didn't expect any. I really didn't expect anything. I booked my accommodation for one night. I took down not enough clothes.
Right. Brilliant.
Didn't have a caddy, which is so. Anyway, I played at Southport and Ainsdale and played really well, and I was third in the qualifying.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. So then I had to. But luckily, the place I stayed in could accommodate me for another night. But then they couldn't get me anywhere. They didn't have another room after that because people were coming down to watch the Open.
Right.
So and I had to phone back home and get a caddy to come down as well, because you can't carry your own clubs in it. You've got to have a caddy.
But you're not actually allowed to caddy.
No.
Brilliant. It's run by the European Tour, isn't it? Or the seniors part of the European Tour. It's run by them, I think.
Yeah, it is, aye.
Yeah.
So when I qualified, I was all excited and all that there. I went home, everything was all organised. I went back to my digs, and then reality hit me of what I'd actually done. And,
wow.
And then I get pretty nervous and stuff. But yeah, it was great. So the Open was at Royal Birkdale, and the weather was cracking that year.
Yeah.
And, I had a great experience. I scored 278, which, but my objective was to go out and not make a fool of myself.
Yeah. Which
I really regret that now. I wish I'd went down and when I qualified, and tried to be a bit more positive about it. And whatever. But it was a great experience.
And how many, just circling back a little bit there, Kenny, how many people actually were in the qualifier, and what's the process like? How does that work?
Well, I think it was 3 courses or 4 courses.
Right.
I'm not sure, maybe 70 or something like that at each course, with about 10 spots, roughly speaking,
wow.
in each course.
Yeah.
So I really didn't. I was playing well at that time. And it's only one round, which kind of appealed to me as well. It's a bit of a sprint, so you basically go out and try your best for one round, and you've not got the time to think about in between the first round and the second round to think about what you might be doing, and so just go out and get on with it. and then before
Oh,
you
that's
know
really
it,
cool.
you've got a good score in. So yeah, it was great, and that was my first ever seniors event.
That was your first seniors event, the Senior British Open?
Yeah, it was. My first ever one. And Colin Montgomery, that was his first ever one as well. And I actually was beside him at the driving range, and I said that, introduced myself and spoke to him, and said we've both got our first ever seniors event here. So it was really nice. It was great actually. Really, really nice guy. Dead encouraging.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask, because I know someone else, Mould, and if he's listening, Johnny Johnson, Mould school teacher for maths, or as he said, the only school teacher he had for maths. But anyway, Johnny actually qualified, I guess, a few years before yourself. But I remember the stories from people that know Johnny was that he saw all these kind of idols on the range. So what was that experience like? You obviously met Monty. Was there other people there that were kind of eye-opening for you?
Absolutely. So you go and register and all that and get your photo taken. That was still all very exciting and stuff, you know. And then we go in and there's your locker and stuff, and so your name on it and everything. So great. And then let's go to the practice ground. So off we go. And so we got into the practice ground, and I said to McCaddy, right, you go and get a spot, I'll go and get some balls. So I'm hoping that he's going to go away the furthest point in the practice ground away from everyone. So I'll go down and get the balls and come back, and I've got Corey Pavin behind me, and who was it? What was it? Colin Montgomery in front? I think it was Colin Montgomery in front of me. So I'm walking back up, and I see where he's standing, and I just about had a heart attack. So, so the first couple of swings were a real good laugh.
I bet you, trying to make contact.
Yeah, but that was a wee bit of a scary experience on the practice ground. And then I had my first, coming off the practice ground, I've got my first and only ever 2 autographs. These 2 people.
Brilliant. I was going to ask that as well. So you put no signature in there as well?
Yeah. So it was one of those moments. I signed it was golf balls I had, so I signed the golf balls and I walked away and I looked back and I saw the 2 of them sort of shrugging their shoulders. Who's that?
Well, that's fantastic. And then who did you play with, Kenny? Can you remember who you played with?
Yeah, I played with Bunchu Ruangkit from Thailand,
right,
and Mark Mulland.
Oh, I know the name Mark Mullen, the Welsh guy, is that right?
Welsh, that's right. Yeah, he was a tour player for a long time. So yeah.
Brilliant. So, well, what an experience!
Good. It was fantastic, and I met Tom Watson in the locker room. He was my first golfing hero. I've got a picture with him.
Yeah, I bet you.
He came walking in just after having played in the Open, and he came in and he was clearly very, very tired and didn't want anybody to bother him. But I decided that this might be my one and only opportunity to introduce myself to him. So I did, and it was great.
That's awesome.
Took my hand and got a photograph taken and stuff. And
that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and I think
I talked to him on the range as well. He was great, really nice.
I think you're about the same age, given when you did your qualification, you're about the same age as my brother, Kenny, and he certainly would have Tom Watson and those kind of guys as his, people would really look up to. And Watson was obviously huge with doing the 77 Jewel in the Sun and stuff like that. So that must have been so cool to see him and meet him.
Yeah, I went down to Muirfield with my dad, and I think it was 81 or something like that.
Right.
And we watched, in the practice day, we watched Watson, Nicholas and Gary Player. Gary Player's doing his usual stuff, high kicks and all that.
Brilliant.
So we watched them all the way around, and Watson was playing absolutely superb. And I said to my dad, I think he's going to win this. And he did. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then to meet him all these years later was great as well, yeah. So
we'll jump straight into the Senior Open there, Kenny. Where did it all start? Where did you start playing golf and how did you get into the game?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest, I was never really that bothered about it at all. My dad wasn't really a golfer. He played golf, but he wasn't very good. And he joined Disco Bride.
Right.
I don't know what age I was. I remember him joining. And then when I became 11, whatever years old, he'd stuck my name in, and all of a sudden I was a member of the golf club. But I'd never played 18 holes at all before in my life. So I was given this set of old golf clubs, and my dad stuck my name down for a medal, and I remember going out and shooting them 147.
I think you're a snooker star.
Exactly, 147. I remember.
Made the maximum.
Aye. Well, I think I could have scored more given half a chance. But yeah, I remember taking a 13 at the first.
Wow.
Aye. Yeah. So that really wasn't a good introduction. I wasn't that bothered about it, and I kind of played a wee bit here and there. And then I was about 15, and we went on a family holiday through to Crail, and me and my dad went for a game of golf on the Monday morning, and we turned up at Crail, and just at the same time we arrived, a guy that my dad knew from the golf club was there with his son, who was just a bit older than me.
Right.
And so we went out, they chucked the two of us out to play golf, and they hit the bar sort of thing, and so we went and played golf every day, 2-3 rounds a day, every day for 2 weeks. And that was me. I had a pal after that at the golf club, and so that kind of started me off at that point. So.
And Crail's some place, isn't it? Balcomie's a brilliant course.
Yeah, it is. I have real fond memories of Balcomie. I played there last year. I didn't play Balcomie right enough, but I was through there last November or something.
Craighead's a slightly tougher prospect.
Aye, it is indeed, aye. Yeah,
I know people used to play, and I think it's still on. Was it the Battle? It's not the Battle Trophy. What is it called?
That's right.
Battle Trophy. No wonder it's called the Battle Trophy, eh?
Aye.
You get in the Balcomie, and I'm sure I've seen scores like 65-82 have won it around the Craighead in the afternoon. So it tends to be really low in Balcomie, and then Craighead is just carnage. It's ridiculous.
Of course, yeah, two very different courses, but yeah. So that's kind of started. But I still really, I would consider myself a bit of a slow burner, really.
Right.
At that point, I still really wasn't. I never won anything as a junior.
Really?
No, nothing. No, really. But what I caddied for Stuart Taylor, who's a few years older than me. He was a full international. I caddied for him for 2, 3, 4 years or whatever. So I saw him playing, and I saw like all the top amateurs of that day. And like the Scottish stroke play and all these sort of things. And so I sort of learned and watched and learned from them, and then I don't know. Things started to come together a bit more, and it was probably in my mid to late 20s that I started to become quite good.
Wow, that's a real shock to me, because I mean you obviously played for East Kilbride team, but you played for the county numerous times, and
I played.
You're always sort of +2 handicap from when I knew who you were.
Well, that was probably mid-20s or something like that. It suddenly started to come together. I went from probably mid-20s, I would say. Yeah, round about that, where it suddenly started to come together for me, and then it just and then in 91 I won the Cameron Corbett 72 holer. That was my kind of
the Hag's Castle.
Yeah, that was when I suddenly realised that I was not too bad at golf, and you
need to be pretty good to win that, especially back then, because those events were massive back then for like Scottish selection and stuff.
Yeah. And then I started having sort of pretty decent runs in like Scottish stroke play. I was always good cut maker. I always made cuts. I always did fairly well with that. So I started having sort of decent runs in the 72 holers and things, and so then I started to win a few wee 36 holes here and there and whatnot, and that was that, and then life got in the way, and I kind of, career and family and stuff, and the golf started to take a bit of a back seat for a while, so.
So you'd just be like playing team games and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
just a bit less
every now
golf
and
than
then.
before.
Yeah, every now and then dip my toe into a sort of local 36 holer and stuff, and do that. But like the Scottish Amateur, I'm not really playing and things like that anymore. Or the 72 holers and stuff. Just busy with other things.
It's a big time commitment, and then if you're not practicing the same amount of time and getting the same competition, you're not going to feel as sharp going to those, are you?
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. And
so then,
sorry, on you go.
No, you go. No, go ahead.
And then when I was in my 40s, I wasn't that bothered about golf. I would play club golf. Wasn't that bothered one way or another. And then I started. Ross Hinshelwood had joined Disco Bride, and I get pretty pally with Ross, and Ross kind of started making me play, and
right.
And we played and things, and we'd start, and then Mum will go in the Scottish Amateur, Mum will do this, Mum will do that. So we started doing a bit of that. So I started getting the competitive juices flowing again.
Right.
And then there's a couple of, we started playing winter golf. We'd go to like Leaving, and we'd go anywhere, but we joined Leaving for the winter. And I met Gordon MacDonald, who was one of the, I played with Gordon back in the day, and he was one of the sort of guys that started off the SSGS stuff,
Right.
So he looked at me and he said, what age are you? And I can't remember what age, I was like 46, 47 or whatever. And he says, oh, you're not far off the seniors. And I says, what's that? So he told me a bit about it. And I thought, quite like the sound of that, So it was just after that I sort of set a wee plan together of, right, I'm going to start at 5 years. I'm going to prepare myself for the being 55 and
right.
For the Scottish team and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of started practicing a lot more again, getting coaching. I'd never did any coaching before.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Hardly anything. The odd free club. The maths coaching things, but so I started going for proper coaching and stuff. Like every 2 weeks I would go, and just started taking it all very seriously and doing that sort of thing. And then I started entering 36 holers again, playing 72 holers. Started playing for the county again, just to prepare myself for being 55.
And what did it feel like, Kenny, with such a break? What did it feel like playing county games again? That must have been interesting.
Aye, it was, because I was much younger.
I was going to say.
But no, it was good. I enjoyed them. It was good, but things had changed. What really amazed me was I got asked to play a county game at Cowglen. So I won my match. Anyway, I was like, well, thanks for the game. So can you play next week? And I was like, oh, you'll be able to get somebody better than me. They're like, no. Can you play next week? And I was okay. But in my day, playing for the county was a big thing, but they're actually struggling nowadays to get county players.
I think it's just, again, it's time commitment, isn't it?
Exactly.
And then the really low guys who are playing Scottish events tend to focus on them, so they get pulled away. There's a kind of big gap in between. You don't have I don't even think the club games are as competitive as they used to be, but then I could be wrong, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. I'm not sure. Really. But that was it. I just started that, but it was all gearing up towards getting myself ready for the senior stuff. I did play a few seniors events between the ages of 50 to 55, but because I was still working, I could only manage, and they're all on during the week.
Of course.
Manage 2 or 3 of them, and so I thought I'm not bothered with this. I'll just leave them just now, you know. So I just backed away from the senior stuff, and just concentrated on the 36 holers, 72 holers. I played some of them as well, and just to get myself, just to keep the competitive edge going, you know. So that was kind of.
And have you always stayed a member at East Kilbride? Is that where you've always been?
Yeah, I've always been there. Ross and I joined leaving for a year or 2 years, and then we joined down at Troon. They did the thingy ticket, the rover ticket, or whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, so you play like Loch Green and Darley and stuff like that.
I used to get down there every Saturday, Sunday sort of thing, and play down there.
Yeah.
Through the winter. Yeah. So, but other than that, East Kilbride all the way sort of thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. So then, at some point though, Kenny, you've obviously started playing a lot more in the seniors events. So I'd love you to talk about some of those, and we'll get to the most recent one. But how did that sort of pick back up when you started playing more national events away from Scotland and stuff?
Well, the target was to try and get in the Scottish team.
Right.
That was the ultimate goal, because it was something that way back. I probably wasn't that far away, but just probably my commitment level wasn't. My preparation wasn't as good as it is now. You know, I think age, maturity.
Yeah.
Let's say maturity, not age.
Maturity's helped you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't the most mature of individuals back in the day.
Yeah, a couple of pre-round preparation drinks the night before and stuff like that.
Exactly. I thought you were going to say previous convictions, but there's none of them.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So that was the goal. So I just so the season came when I was 55, but I didn't. I thought it was a bit of a tall order because I was still working then. So
of course.
I couldn't. So I missed the first 4 events because I was working. My first event was the Scottish stroke play.
Right.
So guys had already played 4 events and I hadn't even started. So I played the Scottish stroke play. I was 7th in that, and then I was 2nd at Glenberry, I think. And then I did a couple of good other events, and then the last event was the British down at Porthcawl, and I came in 4th there. So
oh wow, that's some result.
What's that?
That's some result. Well done.
Aye, it was good. I was Trevor Foster won that. He scored 63 in the first round, and he was coming down the last as I was going off the first, and I'm walking up the first, knowing that I was 9 shots behind.
Nice.
Started.
That's a seller. Sell the nerves.
Yeah, but I played really well. It was a good week, and that kind of got myself right into the team. So yeah, it was. So it was a great start. But there's a wee bit of naivety about me as well. At that point, I didn't realise. I just went about, not really thinking about it. I just went out and played golf and without any pressure, because I really didn't expect to get in the team, because I thought, well, everybody else they've played double the amount of events as I have. I've no chance. And before I knew it, I strung together 5 good events and I was in. So
wow,
yeah, it was
there
great.
You go. And what was it like playing for Scotland for the first time?
It was brilliant. I felt a wee bit as if maybe I was out of place or whatever. I don't know. But it was great. I was so proud. But at the time, played the Europeans in Austria, and it was the weather there was some heavy rain and all that, and that was good. But we came in 7th. We qualified for the top flight.
Right.
We came in 7th, so it was it wasn't brilliant. It was okay, and that kind of bedded me in quite nicely. And then we had the home internationals down at Southern Ness, and
tough course.
And then we played the first day, and Ireland beat us. And we thought, oh, well, that's that. But then a storm came in the net. Aye, it did.
Not unusual for Southern Ness.
Well, this was a trees blown down type storm.
Oh wow!
They cancelled the day's play, and for the Tuesday, that would be the Wednesday. So on the Thursday, what they did was they just made it singles. So we played England in the morning, all 7 singles rather than foursomes, and then Wales in the afternoon. So we beat England. We gave them a bit of doing, 5-2 or something like that, or 5.5, 1.5. Sitting at lunchtime, and I was going through all the permutations, and I said, by the way, we can win this if this happens, and sure enough, we went out. We beat Wales. We gave Wales a good thumping as well, and then and Ireland beat England. That we won. So that was brilliant. So that was my first home internationals. Yeah. So that was fantastic. Yeah.
Proving the point that you should be in the team, obviously. Kenny, there you won it.
That day, that's right. I beat in the morning. I beat the English champion, and in the afternoon I beat the Welsh champion. So there
you go. You're in the right place. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. And then Kenny, the Scottish Seniors Golf Society. I mean, you guys have got a lot of events all over Scotland. I'd love you to talk about just what the organisation does and how many guys are playing, and what events people can get access to as well.
Well, they're fantastic. They're so well run, and but they don't rest on their laurels. They're constantly trying to introduce new things. Like getting microphone speakers on the first tee, getting the sort of lectern thing. They've got a gazebo there, and all the. So it's like a proper event.
Yeah.
Apart from the R&A events are very well run, really, really well run, and and they spread. It's not just for the low guys. They spread the vouchers. The most you can win is 150 voucher.
Right.
But there's 5 or 6 prizes overall, gross and net, and then
that's really good.
The age categories as well.
Right.
50 to 54, etc. So I've got all the different and gross and net for them as well. So there's a lot of prizes getting spread about. In fact, I was talking to the secretary at the last one, and he said, 33 vouchers I had to sign and fill out from the last event. So that's the amount of stuff that's handed out. So it's
And how many people are playing? Is it something like 150, depending where the competition is it?
130.
Right.
But quite often they maybe don't completely fill it. But I'm starting to notice now that they're balloting out. I think this week's our 3rd event up at Fraserburgh, and I'm sure the first 2 events they were balloting out people.
Wow.
The first event I wasn't in, I wasn't going to play. Last year it was not a bad place. Last year I wasn't enjoying golf at all. The last couple of years, just really not enjoying it. And I played the British last year and I was rubbish.
Right.
I decided, that's me, I'm done. I couldn't wait for it to finish. I thought, I'm done. I'm not playing in these ever again. I'm finished. But what I did over the winter, I did a rethink, and I started going out and playing with my pals. I never played bounce games at all. I used to just go and practice. So I started going out, playing with my pals, having a laugh, playing for the loser buys the teas and the cakes, that kind of thing. And but still competitive.
Yeah,
just
of course.
Playing, not practicing, just going out and playing. But the game started getting better and better and better. So I hadn't actually entered for Lossiemouth in time, and I thought, right, I'll send this away. And I was 2 days late for my entry, so I was 13th reserve. And I thought,
13th reserve, that's incredible.
But I'm not getting in, and I get in the Monday night.
Right.
And the year before, we were up at Fraserburgh for the first event, and I could not be bothered. I don't want to go to this. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But I went. But this year I was absolutely bursting to go. I was checking my emails every 5 minutes to see if I was in.
That's brilliant.
It was because I was playing so well and I was enjoying it and stuff.
Yeah. That's really nice to hear.
I went up there and I was second, So
There you go.
lost by a shot. So yeah. So
But certainly not at your level, Kenny, in terms of play, but what you're talking about definitely resonates with me. I guess you can go down the wrong path thinking you're sort of time crunched and you don't have the time to play. I'll just go and practice, that'll keep my game up. And you can get into a sort of vicious cycle of just hitting balls, chipping, putting, thinking this is really going to help. And the reality is, if you're not going out and playing any holes at all, you're not really going to understand how to play the golf course because you never get the same shot. And it's so obvious, right? I mean, you're a really low handicap golfer. I'm a reasonably low handicap golfer. You'd think it'd be obvious to us, but it's amazing how you lose the plot and lose track of what you should be doing.
It just I mean I've always been one. I always liked hitting golf. I always liked hitting golf balls and practicing and stuff. I always liked doing that, but I was just I don't know what I just wasn't enjoying it at all. It was becoming a better going to hit balls because I'm playing in.
Right.
You know,
Versus doing it because you really enjoy it.
yeah, I better go and do this because of, and it's like dragging myself up and then only 10 more balls to go, thank God. You know, and you don't realise you're getting into that sort of mode.
Yeah.
There's a few other things I'm doing differently as well now that are just I'm just really enjoying it. And it's not because, oh, you're playing well now. I was enjoying it September, October last year. I started,
right.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. And it's just kept going. And guys have been asking me, well, what's happening? Are you working hard at your game? And I'm like, no, completely the opposite.
Practicing less than I ever have.
Completely the opposite. I actually, if I go down the practice ground once a week now, I'm lucky and I'll hit 55 balls. Why 55? Because I've got 11 irons.
5 for each. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's it. That's all I do. And I don't hit any more. I'll spend a bit of time chipping and putting.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's awesome. And then, Kenny, that's built you up. I mean, it's incredible you've been there the last couple of years, and this year it's all turned around just sort of over winter time. But last week, you had a great performance, so I'd love you to talk through the English senior and how that went. And, well, I guess it wasn't quite the result you totally wanted, but, I mean, what a great result overall that you had.
Yeah, it was great. It's funny, I'm still feeling quite disappointed. I would say almost a wee bit flat.
Right.
In fact, because I played so well, and just never opportunities like that don't come along too often, So, but people have said, well, would you have taken that at the start of the week? And I said, yeah, of course I would have. But,
of course you would, yeah.
But when I'm standing on the first tee for the playoff,
that's not what you're thinking, is it?
You're not wanting second place, are you?
No.
But I didn't do anything wrong, I did absolutely nothing wrong. It just sometimes it works out, it doesn't work out, So.
And what about the week itself? So where was the Seniors Open or the English Seniors Open played this year?
It was at Woodhall Spa. So I played there 2 years ago in the British. I didn't have a great experience there, but again, that was me. I was starting to go through the doldrums at that point.
Right.
But I knew the courses. So you're playing 2 courses, playing the Hodgkin, which is I think ranked 78 in the world best courses. It's a really nice golf course, really good golf course.
Yeah.
And the Bracken, which is apparently it was designed as a training course for that, because Woodhall Spa is the home of England golf, so it's like their headquarters of all the training and everything's done there. So they built this course as a training course. So it's like a draw off the tee, a fade for the second shot, vice versa, so that's what you've got.
Wow.
Water, quite a bit of water, hazards here and there, and the greens are slopey, some of the craziest slopes you've seen in your life. So,
wow.
But the scoring was much higher around that course than it was in the main course.
Right.
But I kind of went out in my practice round, and after about 3 holes, I was playing with just a couple of English guys I didn't know, and I just decided after about 4 holes, I thought, no, that I'm kind of aiming flags and things like that. I thought, no, this is daft. Let's just get my yardage off my caddy car, for the middle of the green. And I was just saying, right, let's just hit it the middle of the green and rely on my 2 putts, my 2 putting. And there's a couple of par 5s where I hit iron off the tee to put myself in the fairway so that I didn't need to play a hook round the trees or a cut round the trees. I hit an iron to give myself a clear shot and accept the fact I wasn't going to get there in 2 or whatever, I just totally had a strategy that I used round that course. It was quite negative, but that's that kind of course. There was a guy shot 70, Danny Holmes shot 70 in the same day as me, shot 70 around the Hodgkin, and I shot 72 in the first round. He shot 81, 82, 83 or whatever in the Bracken, and then in the final day he shot 69. So, he blew his chances.
Yeah, blew his chances having a different. He probably played the same strategy as the other course on the one you're saying is tougher or different, right?
Different. You just there's maybe a handful of holes where you just, well, I reckon no, you just can't do that. You've got to just miss it over there and accept the fact that you're maybe going to have a hard work par or something out of it. You just cannot shoot at that flag anywhere near it. So that's what I did. I just went out and just tried to cozy my way around it and get.
You did pretty well. Did pretty well with that.
It was just to get myself in position for the final round. Just to make sure that because just my confidence. I don't know what it is. I've no idea what's happened, but I'm very calm in the golf course now, and when anything happens, I just accept it and I move on, and I don't know why. And I'm not trying to find out why either. Because
it's a good thing. I wouldn't even. I'd just keep going with that mindset. It's a good way to go.
So when I was driving down, I was thinking about the courses and stuff, and I thought to myself, and I honestly thought, I think I'm probably going to give myself a chance to win this. I thought I'm going to get myself, because of the way I was playing, I just thought the chance. I just felt as if I was going to give myself the opportunity, So that was my kind of. So I went out and I played well round the Hodgkin, shot 72. I probably played a bit better than that, but it was a good score nonetheless. And then so I thought, right, let's just make sure I'm in position to try and have a chance at this, So that's what I did. So I scored 73 round the Bracken, which is one over, but the playing condition PCC went up 3 shots. So that gives you an idea of how difficult the main course, it never went up at all, but both rounds in the Bracken were up 3 shots. So so just wanted to get myself in position to have a go, and so I was 2 behind, yeah.
Brilliant.
Final round. So I knew. So I went there in the final round, and I thought, well, it's not in my hands, but I kind of looked at the guys that were in there, and I kind of knew probably the 2 guys I was going to have to beat were Steve Jensen and John Kemp, and that's who it turned out to be, So, and I was playing with Steve. I was really glad I was playing with Steve because I know he's a really good player. I'd never played with him before, but I knew he was a really good player, and I was playing with him, and I thought, well, he's the man that I'm going to try and beat, and if it's not good enough to beat Kemp, then so be it, So that was my sort of strategy in that, and went out and I played really, really well. Had quite a few chances throughout the round, but the early ones, it doesn't matter. But early on the round is well important, but towards the end of the round, had really good chances in 16, 17 for birdies, and I missed both of them.
Right.
But didn't really, they weren't. I missed them, and that's it. I didn't do anything bad, and then. But I'd also seen Steve. He hold a 25 foot. I had about a 7 footer in 16, for birdie, and he had a 25 footer or something like that, and he holed it. So he holed his, I missed. So that was us level. Then we both birdied the last. Both had chances at 17. I mean, I was much closer. But a real tricky downhiller, which I just missed. Then we both birdied the last, and we thought that we might have a chance of a playoff at that point. And as it turned out, we did. You know, we both. And
I noticed that Martin Slumbers was playing as well, the guy that was the head of the R&A.
That's right. I didn't realise. I was asking. I didn't realise he was that good.
Well, I'd listened to a podcast with him maybe 2 years ago, so I knew he was. I'd say I knew he was a player when he was young. Like he was quite cagey about it, but you could tell he'd played. I think he'd played county golf for Surrey, so that was a good clue. He was a good player. But he had played really well, and then I think he just had a tough final round. But I was looking at the leaderboard thinking, is that Martin Slumbers for the R&A? And then, of course, it was.
He played last year in English, I remember. Yeah, but that I was kind of the fella that Simon Crockett. I don't really know him at all. He was leading by two from me. Sorry, leading by two from me.
Right.
Slumbers. So I was kind of glad I wasn't in that three ball, because John Kemp and I were the same. We were both even, and John he got in because he finished his second round before me, sort of thing. So I was kind of glad. I thought the fella Simon had shot 68 round the Hodgkin the day before, so I thought the chances are, and that's 5 under, chances are he's not going to do that again. And he didn't, but he still did well.
Yeah.
So Martin Slumbers, he's never been there before, you know, so he's maybe going to find it quite difficult, and which he did. He, shot a high score. So I didn't want to be in that three ball. I didn't want to be having to, look for other people's golf balls.
Well, you're striking it down the middle.
I knew that Steve was a good player, and he was going to score well. I didn't know that Tony, the Irish fella, I didn't know him, but I asked around, and the guys told me that he was a good player, and he was in the whole internationals last year. So I kind of was glad of that three ball, because you always want it. I think it's always better if you're playing with guys that are playing well and can sort of feed off each other a bit. So
because even if you got a slow player in your group, a really fast player, somebody's hitting it sideways and you're looking for golf balls, as you say, or they're just downing themselves, it's not really going for them. It's never a great experience. If you can have a group where everybody's kind of going at it, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Well, Steve doesn't mess about. He's quite a brisk player, and that's another thing that I do now. It's a new routine that I developed over the winter. My putting and every shot, it's a get your club, what shot are you hitting, get over it and hit it. That's kind of pretty much what I do. My putting's I've went from like long putts, I'm down to 2 looks, get over the ball, have 2 looks maximum and go. Short putts is 1 look. Go.
Yeah.
Because I felt as if in my head, I tend to overthink things. So the longer I stand over it, the more nonsense comes into my head. And I know it sounds so stupid, but it makes perfect sense. Just, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to hit towards that tree there or whatever, and right, we'll do it then.
Exactly. There's nothing else to think about. You're not going to change anything.
and I'm going to use a 5-iron. We'll hit it.
Yeah.
So I kind of basically get in about it before I get a chance to think anything. And it was difficult to do at first, but it's now become, that's what I do. I get in and putt before I get a chance to think of anything and stuff, And
it's clear. I mean, it's clearly working, Kenny. You've obviously rediscovered your love for the game over the winter there and playing with your friends, but that's continued into your competitive golf, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I'm just going to keep doing the same. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to do the same stuff. I'm going to, don't see any reason why I'd change it. Just it's I feel a lot happier about it. You get in and hit it, and I don't know whether getting in and hitting and doing that sort of approach, if it doesn't come off, somehow it makes it easier to accept. I don't know. I've no idea.
Could be. Yeah. But you need to become. You should get in contact with Carol Morris and tell him you've cracked it.
Oh, no,
Acceptance is your number one thing, and you're just moving on. He'd love to hear that.
Well, I did in the final round. I doubled 13. It sounds bad, but I really didn't do anything that bad. I just pulled a tee shot a wee bit in it, probably the hardest hole in the course. Pulled it a wee bit into a bunker. Could only chip out sideways, and then I was still left with a 4-iron on the green. Missed the green double. So
easy done. Easy done.
You think game over, but then I went birdie, par. I could have birdied the last 5 holes, but I went birdie, par, birdie to finish. But I walked onto the 14th tee and I hadn't even didn't give a second thought to what had just happened.
That's incredible.
Whereas a few years ago I'd been having tantrums and all sorts of stuff.
Helicopters.
Maybe, no, none of that, but I maybe wouldn't have had a tantrum, but I'd certainly dwelled on it. But I didn't.
Yeah, of course.
On the next tee, blushed my drive down the middle and knocked a 4-iron on the green and 2 putts for a birdie. So
there you go.
That was that. Aye. So and that's I've done that throughout the season so far. That's been the way it went. So yeah. My girlfriend fancies herself a wee bit as a bit of a motivational speaker. So so
there you go.
She likes to give me some words of wisdom here and there.
Fantastic. So Kenny, what a great experience there. And what about the rest of the year? What have you got coming up to look forward to?
Well, I'm trying not to think too far ahead. That's kind of again my approach. I don't just go like that. What am I playing in next week sort of thing? That's what I'm doing. Not planning any sort of things. So look, I'm going up to tomorrow. I'm going up to some maybe mid-afternoon up to Fraserburgh for the SSGS event. So it's 2-rounder. So I'm really looking forward to that because I just want to put last week behind me now.
Yeah.
Just because I'm just want to go on with the next thing and forget about. I mean, it was great, but just forget about it now and concentrate on the next event. And then the week after that's the Scottish.
Fantastic! Oh, that would be brilliant. That would be a great event.
Looking forward to that. We had our second event at a 2-rounder at Montrose about 3 weeks ago or something, and so I was third in that, 2 behind.
There you go.
Yeah. So then they come thick and fast, and I can't really remember them all now. but that's a deliberate in my part. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm not.
Because the experience of last year where you were, or not just last year, but up the last few years where you said you were practicing and sort of thinking about you had to do it rather than just wanting to do it.
Well, I kind of, in 2019, after my first Scotland call up, 2019, I kind of tweaked my back and I didn't play well that great. And then 2020, I was ready again, and COVID, of course. So 20 and 21 were write-offs.
Right.
Because I was still working.
Uh-huh.
So I couldn't get any time off or anything like that to play in anything. So they were just write-offs. So in 22, I get back into the team again. I played well that year. Get back into the team, the Europeans and the Home Internationals. And we won the Home Internationals again.
There you go, see?
Yeah.
Back in the team, won it.
Well, I did say to Ronnie that you need me in the Home Internationals because you don't win it without me. So
of course.
And the Europeans was a much better experience. I think personally, I felt as if I deserved to be there, or I wasn't out of place. Yeah, I played well in that, and we were a horseshoe away from getting in the final,
right,
against England, and but it was good. I enjoyed, very enjoyable experience at that time. So expectations after that were for 23 and 24 were, well, we'll just keep things going. And so I practiced and, pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't hit a good shot, why am I not, just so that I didn't enjoy a golf in 23 at all. I think I finished again at the British, went, that's me done, and I did the same last year. Anyway,
Right.
and I really, seriously, honestly, anybody that knows me well knows that I'm done. I'm done with this. Finished.
Yeah.
I'm not putting myself through this again, but I just, I
guess maybe sometimes, Ken, you've got to reach that point for you to think that you don't want to do it, to realise, actually, I'm doing the wrong thing versus not wanting to do it here. It's just the approach you've had that's not been right for you, that's all.
Yeah, I know. It worked for me in the past, or it seemed to work for me in the past, so but maybe I changed things, maybe I did things differently, maybe I hit too many balls,
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't, I don't know. I was talking to the pro Graham Bell at the club today, and he said, and I was telling him pretty much what I've just said there, and he said to me, "You've hit enough balls in your lifetime. You don't need to hit any more. You just need to play golf, and exactly."
No, because you know how to hit a draw, you know how to hit a fade, you know how to hit it low, high.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of what you were talking about there, Kenny. It's getting the shot in your head and just going and hitting it, and not worrying about consequences. Just go and do it.
Aye, yeah, that's it, and that's kind of. I think I've stumbled upon that. I'm not sure. I wouldn't like to say that.
It's not been by design.
No, I think I've just sort of stumbled in there, to be perfectly honest, and I'm happy that it has done. But see, if I hadn't, I'm not sure if I would have played any events this year, but my approach was I'm just going to go and, if I go and play in anything, I'm just going to go and enjoy it and see the guys and all that. That's going to be it. But and that's what I'm going to do this week at Fraserburgh, and that's what I'm going to do next week at the Scottish. I'm just going to go and do the exact same, try and enjoy myself, and just let the golf take care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kenny, if people want to catch up with your results and see how you're doing, how can they follow you? Where can they catch you in social media?
Well, I'm not exactly Mr. Social Media.
Oh no, we're doing a rabbit hole here.
I don't really I don't really like posting stuff about myself. I don't really like doing that. I don't know. It's an age thing.
Right.
Don't like, but I don't post my scores or anything like that. I don't do that. I don't. No, I don't. I just don't really like doing that.
So if people want to find out, what is it? The Scottish Seniors Golf Society is on Instagram and Facebook.
They've got their own website, SSGS.
Oh, excellent!
And then when you go in, like this week, Fraserburgh is on. So you go in and there's a section you can click on scores, and it takes you, and they use the Scottish Golf live scoreboard. Okay. So they go in and you can go in and click on that and update and see the updated scores as they come in. So Scottish Golf, SSGS website for most of the events, and then like the Scottish will be on Scottish Golf, and the English is on English Golf, British on the RNA website. So you'll find
fantastic.
I never post stuff. I just, the reason I don't is I kind of, like, see, last week I never my phone, people were great round, and I didn't reply to them because I don't like to do that. I feel as if you start to think ahead.
Yeah, I get
start
it.
To think ahead of what ifs and all the rest of it. I just don't like to do that. I just like to, I'll reply to people, sort of friends and stuff like that. I'll say thanks, that kind of thing, but I don't. I know it sounds dead rude. But I don't.
No, it makes sense. So you're basically, you are doing what somebody like Carol Morris would tell you to do, right? What a sports psychologist would say, or a performance coach. Just stay in the moment. Don't think about results, and just go play your golf.
I mean, I do the same. I do the same when I'm at the events as well. I don't look at leader. When I'm on the course, like on Friday there, I would just got about a game, but with 5 holes to go, I was looking at the leaderboard because I had leaderboards for the last 2 groups. I was looking at the game behind to see how they're doing. So I started looking then, but before that I didn't. I just got on with my own game. When I go at the course, I don't look at the updates and see how other people are doing. I don't go anywhere near the clubhouse because I don't want somebody coming up and saying, "Oh, I was rubbish today. I took in 8 at the 5th today. I went and did this and that."
Don't hurt it here, don't hurt it there.
I'm not interested. You see the pin in the 4th. Oh, it's a night. I'm not interested in hearing all that stuff. I'll go and find out for myself. So I just keep away from all that and just do my own thing.
Fantastic.
Because I've got a camper van. I go away to my events in the camper van. The guys are all saying, "Oh, come out for a few beers and stuff like that." I can't. Where you go? Okay. I don't. I don't.
You're just in there studying like a monk, just chilling out.
It's not that I'm antisocial or anything like that. I'm there to.
You're there to win. That's it.
I'm there to play golf.
Brilliant.
Try and give myself best opportunity I can. I've kind of learned from the senior stuff that we're not young anymore, so
the county game is back in the day.
Is paramount.
Joking aside, it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so last week was 5 rounds. So the drive down, 5.5 hour drive down. You've got 5 rounds, 2 practice rounds. Plus I'll go out and hit 30 balls before I go out for each round. Yeah, of course. So you're 5 rounds. I was a early late tee, so I wasn't off the course on Thursday until 7:30 or whatever it was. And then okay, so I had a good finish, so I've got a late tea time on Friday, but I could have been off at 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning on Friday. And so I've learned you need to conserve energy. It's a long week, and you have to look after yourself and get plenty of sleep and all the rest of it, So, and guys, I warn guys all the time. You'll see them in the practice ground for 3 hours, and I'm like, "What are you doing, you madman? You've got 3 rounds to play. You need to save your energy."
They're not going to find on the range an hour before they go out, right?
Exactly. But so it's just you've just got to conserve energy, look after yourself, get plenty of sleep and stuff. But that's my approach. I'm not saying that that's what everybody's got to do. That's the way I find. That's what I do.
Well, it's definitely working, Kenny. Definitely working. So listen, thanks so much for coming on, Kenny. I really appreciate it. You've been brilliant. All the best for the season, and look forward to seeing you getting some wins this year. I think it's going to come, and pretty soon.
I know it's starting to annoy me a wee bit now. That's 2nd, 3rd, lost in a playoff, so
it's coming.
Starting to get a wee bit annoyed. So, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, Kenny.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me on.
That's it for this episode of Link by Golf. I'd like to thank Kenny Gallacher for joining us and giving us a deeper look into what it takes to compete at the top of the amateur game. If you enjoyed the episode, please do take a few moments to follow, review and share the podcast. Every bit of support from you, the listeners, helps build the guest list for future episodes. A big thanks to Lomond Golf Tours and Croon Golf for continued support. Until next time, I'm Ross McGuire. Thanks for listening.